I told you I was looking up that autistic girl, right? Fucking like a year and a half
I think
ago.
I only hook up with autistic girls.
No, this girl was so fucking mean. She was like so rude. She's like, that's weird that you're a comedian because you're not very funny at all. I'm like, well, I didn't fucking ask you, you bitch, or whatever. And then, like, you know, I would like show her things and she's like, I don't enjoy this. And she's like, this made me laugh a lot. And she showed me a thing that made her laugh one time and it was just a Pine Sol commercial. She was like, I have to show you this. This made me laugh. She's like, isn't this funny? And it wasn't funny. And then I remember one time, like, I was trying to watch.
Appreciate that honesty.
Yeah, I was trying to watch No Country for Old Men, and she's like, this movie sucks. And it was like 5 minutes in. I'm like, you're fucking absolutely wrong. It's like,
it's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. There's no
like, it's just really boring. And she had like Oreos or whatever, and above the fridge, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna take some of these Oreos. And then she's like, or no, I think I said something like, do you mind if I have one of these Oreos? You know, like, just, of course, you're fucking, you know, seeing somebody. They're not going to mind if you eat their Oreos. I was like, can I have one of these Oreos? She's like, you can have one or two. You know, I think she was being, like, gracious or whatever.
Oreos don't grow on trees.
So I had one, and she was like, did you have one? You're allowed to have one more. She, like, made a point. So she went in the bathroom and I like passively aggressively shoved like 7 Oreos in my mouth.
Wait, you were dating and this?
I love
we were
that you
never dating. This was like
resentfully
someone I
ate a
hooked up with
sleeve
like
of
three
Oreos.
times maybe.
Gotcha.
I didn't know, but I remember like at one time I was like arguing with her. I was like, you realize you're fucking autistic, right? You're like an autistic person. You're just an attractive woman, and that's why like no one's ever told you that. And she's like, no, I'm not. And she's like, my mom's a psychologist. I think I would know if I was autistic or whatever. I'm like, whatever. I mean, you're rude as shit. You don't pick up on social cues. I saw you walk around on the balls of your feet one time. And like, she's like, that's because I used to dance. I'm like, yeah, but you're not dancing right now.
I
You're fucking walking in the bathroom.
Walk around on the balls.
Yeah. I'm like,
wait, is that an autistic trait?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. They walk like that.
They like the sensory feeling of it. I
It's
think
the only way they
describes-
know how to feel.
Yeah. Haven't you ever seen like autistic kids that sort of like bounce around like this?
Like Phil?
Yeah.
They bounce.
There's something about like the novelty of like a altered mobility or something.
Really?
that's
Anyhow, so
enjoyable.
we didn't talk for like 2 weeks after that, and then I get a text from her like randomly that's like, apparently I was diagnosed high functioning autistic when I was 4. And I was like, I knew it. I fucking knew it.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. No, she sucked.
Do you?
She's
I've
hot.
said this to you
Yeah.
before, but do you
Them
think
titties ain't
that
suck- no,
do you think the propensity of like the higher, maybe it's overdiagnosed now. They took Asperger's out of the DSM, but I think like a lot.
The dick sucking
maybe
manual?
this is maybe this is
Adam reads that
anecdotal.
book every single morning.
I read it every morning.
Ooh, they got a new dick sucking manual. The Dick Sucking Manual 6.
How else do you know?
What to do with the balls?
I think that there is some sort of correlation between being on the spectrum
And
and
transness?
polyamory.
And like kink and shit like that.
I think polyamory
Yeah,
specifically.
here's the thing, like, sex is and sexuality are a function of the way you process information. They're not entirely like your primitive, like,
Yeah.
animal
Right.
brain. There's no reason to think that there's no way that any of that could not influence the way you have sex.
I think it's a good point, whatever, but I think it's also funny. One time Adam was talking about this theory about, like, I think if you're autistic, you're into poly and you're kink.
I think you
and
can
but
be
remember,
more.
but no. We were at that party that
Yeah.
Brandon's thing,
Oh,
and he's
God.
saying this to some guy whose brother was autistic, and his girlfriend was
But he was
poly, and he
interested.
wasn't into it. So, like, Adam picked the guy who was the most offended by this theory.
Well, he wasn't
possibly.
offended by it. He was
a
like
lot of
interested in
argument
what
now
I was
is, like,
saying.
you're more likely to be trans if you're
Really?
yeah, or you're more likely to be on the
There's
spectrum if
comorbidity
you are
between
trans.
being retarded and being trans.
But part of that might be a representation issue because there's so many trans people in tech right now, like trans
Right,
women
yeah.
specifically.
Oh yeah, I was saying, I just thought trans meant a woman that knew how to program. An ugly woman that knew how to use a computer.
Trons.
Yeah. I was laughing about like a trans person that's also like, you know, old New York money or like a Boston Brahmins, you know, they're
Yeah,
like, I'm trans.
Trons.
So I'm transgendered. They have that accent. It's
pretty
I'm
good.
trans. I was saying that for like 4 hours one day.
Are those people still around? Do we just never interact?
The
with them?
Boston
Well, Edward
Brahmins?
Herman died, and that was the last one.
What's the?
He was
What
the
is it?
dad on Gilmore Girls. He's
Boston
also
Brahmin
the voice
was
of the
like
Dodge
this,
Durango.
was this like rich,
Yeah, it was the old Boston
vernacular?
accent before.
Was
It's
it-
it's
what
a
is it,
vernacular accent.
Yeah. No,
but it's
vernacular's
like there's a
words.
different word. It's not
Dialect?
vernacular.
Dialect.
Dialect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amber.
Yeah.
Wait, that's what Boston people used to sound like before. It was like white trash.
Yeah, before
It was
all
like
this-
I'm from Boston.
Yeah, it's like Mr. Feeney on
Mr. Feeney, exactly.
Really?
on
Yeah.
Boy Meets World is the best
Mr.
example.
Matthews.
Get the fuck out of
Yeah,
here.
William
So that's how
Daniels-
like
William Daniels has
Sam
a-
Adams and shit talked.
Yeah, either that or the closest accent to like a colonial Virginian accent is the Virginia Tidewater accent, or specifically
That's
like
fucked up sounding.
specifically a Tangiers accent. And the Boston Brahmins and the Tangiers accent are the two oldest accents in North
Really?
America. And a Tangiers accent sounds like ridiculous. It's like an
Whoa.
old school like Cornish hillbilly accent.
Damn, I want to listen
And that's
to that
how
shit.
like George Washington probably talked.
Oh, I want to fuck. I'm gonna look that shit up.
Because they all didn't have teeth either.
Right,
so
right,
yeah.
right.
it's like the British guy is take
Where's that? That's from East Virginia and North Carolina.
Well, it's fishing islands off the coast
Oh,
of Virginia.
I've heard island accents. They sound insane. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah. in
They
the
call them island
Yeah,
accents.
in the
if you're
Carolinas they have
Virginia.
those like
Gullah
gullas.
Gullah.
Yeah, they've got
Yeah.
gullas.
Gullah Gullah Island. Dude.
Yeah. Me and my friend Brendan used to laugh all the time at this. Somebody translated the New Testament into Gullah, and it's like offered online. And if you like Google the Gullah New Testament, and
That's
they have
awesome.
excerpts from it, and it's like Jesus going come down and break the bread with the other dudes, and they're going to have a
Yeah.
big dinner now. But one of the dudes ain't going to do no good to Jesus, so he's going by and say, do this. Why go and do this to me?
Wait.
Start him up, baby.
My
Put him
friend
on a
Enrique
cross.
sent that to me, and he's Jamaican, and for
Yeah.
like weeks afterward, he would just go, Jesus! When
Yeah,
he just yell it.
I had a roommate in college from Jamaica. Is a white guy from Jamaica, and his grandfather was the owner
slaves?
of Beaches and Sandals Resorts.
What?
Oh.
Fucking loaded.
So was he
Yeah.
rich as hell?
Imagine being
He
a
was
foot
rich as
fetish
hell.
guy that finds out about sandals and he just gets
Sandals
it all
resort.
wrong. He's like, what? Let me book that trip.
I'm gonna need an all inclusive.
But
He's just
he-
taking pictures of other tourists' feet. He's like, stop taking pictures of my wife's feet. He's like, sir, it was in the name.
You know what you
False
signed up for.
advertising. Yeah.
But he sounded like I guess his he got sent to like northeastern like prep schools like Deerfield or some shit. So when you were talking to him, he just sounded like just talk normal. But he'd get a call on his phone and he'd be like, "Hear me now, hear me." Like the second like someone
rich-ass
would call,
father.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Even he'd speak like a patois to his parents, his like rich ass family.